If you're over 60, picture this. You finish a healthy dinner, perhaps a salad or some steamed vegetables, feeling good about your choices. You go to bed but wake up feeling off. Maybe some dizziness, a moment of slurred speech, or unexpected weakness in an arm. We often blame culprits like fried food or sugar for stroke risk. But what if I told you the trigger could sometimes be a vegetable you believed was protecting you? Yes, a vegetable. Welcome to Healthier Daily. I'm Dr. Ben Carter. It's a shocking thought, isn't it? Foods we've been told are universally healthy might, under certain circumstances, especially after 60, interact with our bodies in ways that quietly increase risk. This isn't about fear-mongering, it's about deeper understanding. And to help us navigate this nuanced reality with wisdom, we have our esteemed expert, Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara.
Thank you, Ben. The idea that a simple vegetable could be risky is indeed unsettling. It challenges a lifetime of advice. But perhaps the advice was too simple. We must move beyond thinking of the aging body as merely wearing out. It is not necessarily weaker. Rather, it becomes a more finely tuned instrument. Think of a precious aged Stradivarius violin or a vintage grand piano. Such an instrument can still produce magnificent music, perhaps even richer than a new one. But it develops unique sensitivities. It requires a master musician, a tuner, who understands its specific needs, its resonance, how it responds differently to certain notes played too loudly at the wrong time or in discord with other instruments. The simple, robust rules that applied when the instrument was new may no longer be sufficient. They require nuance and skill. Therefore, the simplistic notion that all vegetables are always safe for everyone at any time, that is the myth we must gently set aside today. For the finely tuned instrument of the body, after 60, certain natural compounds within vegetables played too strongly or at the wrong moment can create dissonance, static, or throw the system temporarily out of tune, potentially increasing risks like circulatory disruption if we are not mindful.
That's a crucial shift in perspective from fear of decline to skillful tuning, and that's our goal today. We're not here to tell you to stop eating vegetables. Absolutely not. Instead, we will act as your master tuners. We will guide you through 4 key physiological systems that become particularly sensitive in the instrument after 60. We will reveal how certain common vegetables interact with these systems, explain why these interactions matter, and most importantly, show you how to play these vegetable notes harmoniously and safely. If you are ready to move beyond simplistic rules and become a master tuner for your own finely tuned body, understanding the nuances of healthy eating after 60, please make that intention clear. Go to the comments section right now and type the words "tune up." It signifies your commitment to skillful self-care. And while you're there, please subscribe to Healthier Daily and ring that notification bell. Let's begin learning the art of tuning your health together. The first system in our finely tuned instrument that requires careful calibration after 60 is its intricate fluid balance and filtration system, essentially the body's hydraulics, primarily managed by your kidneys. Think of it like the complex network of pipes and filters that maintain the precise fluid pressure and purity needed for a sensitive machine to operate smoothly. As this instrument ages, two key changes occur in its hydraulics. First, kidney filtration naturally becomes less efficient. The rate at which your kidneys filter waste products and excess substances from the blood, known as the glomerular filtration rate, or GFR, tends to decline gradually. This means the system is slower at removing potential sediments or managing sudden shifts in fluid volume. Second, the body's overall hydration status becomes more precarious. Thirst signals can weaken, meaning seniors might not feel thirsty even when dehydrated. Furthermore, the body's ability to conserve water isn't as robust. This creates a more sensitive hydraulic environment. Dehydration can happen more easily, leading to thicker blood, increased viscosity, which is harder for the heart to pump and increases the risk of clots. The slower filtration also means certain compounds which younger kidneys would flush out rapidly can linger and potentially accumulate, forming sediments. So how do common vegetables interact with these sensitive hydraulics? Let's look at vegetables with natural diuretic effects like romaine lettuce and asparagus. Diuretics encourage the kidneys to release more water and salt. In a well-hydrated younger person, this is usually insignificant. But in a senior who might already be slightly dehydrated, especially overnight, consuming significant amounts of diuretic vegetables late in the evening can potentially tip the balance. It's like overdraining the hydraulic fluid just before the system's quiet period, leading to thicker blood during sleep when circulation naturally slows, a risky combination. Then there's spinach, which is famously high in oxalates. Oxalates are natural compounds that bind with calcium. Younger, efficient kidneys typically filter out these calcium oxalate complexes without issue. However, in an older system with slower filtration, especially if intake is very high, calcium levels are high, perhaps due to supplements, and hydration is suboptimal, these complexes could theoretically form tiny crystals, sediments in the kidney tubules, or even potentially in microcapillaries, although direct links to stroke via this mechanism require more research. The primary concern is kidney strain and the potential impact on overall circulatory health if kidney function is already compromised.
So you see, it is not that these vegetables are bad. It is that the instrument's hydraulic system requires more mindful tuning. Playing the diuretic note too loudly late at night when the fluid levels are naturally lower can create dissonance, allowing excessive sediment oxalates to build up when the filters are slower can strain the system.
The tuning strategy for this system is therefore focused on timing hydration and moderation. Timing consume vegetable with noticeable diuretic effects like romaine asparagus, celery, parsley. Earlier in the day, lunch or early dinner, rather than right before bed. This allows your body to process the fluid shift while you are still active and hydrating. Eat high oxalate greens like spinach earlier as well, giving your kidneys ample time to filter. Hydration. Maintain consistent, adequate hydration throughout the day. Don't rely solely on thirst signals. Sip water regularly, especially if consuming diuretic vegetables. Moderation. Don't consume massive quantities of high oxalate greens like spinach daily, especially raw. Cooking spinach can reduce oxalate levels somewhat. Balance your green intake with other lower oxalate vegetables. Context awareness. Be extra mindful if you have known kidney issues or are taking diuretic medications or calcium high dose. Vitamin D supplements. Discuss your diet with your doctor.
I recall a patient, Margaret, in her late 70s. She started experiencing unusual morning dizziness and a feeling she described as her blood feeling thick. She was proud of her very healthy large spinach salad she ate every night before bed, often alongside a calcium supplement. Her kidney function was slightly reduced, typical for her age. We didn't eliminate the spinach. We simply moved it. We suggested she have her spinach salad for lunch. Instead, encouraged consistent hydration throughout the day and reviewed her supplement timing with her doctor. Within a couple of weeks, the morning dizziness vanished. The feeling of thick blood dissipated. We hadn't removed a healthy food. We had simply adjusted its timing to harmonize with her body's specific hydraulic sensitivities. We tuned the instrument, having addressed the sensitive hydraulics of our aging instrument. We now turn to another system requiring exquisite balance, the blood clotting cascade. Think of this as the instrument's complex rhythm section. It must be perfectly timed, ready to act instantly to stop bleeding when needed clot formation, but equally ready to remain silent and allow fluid, uninterrupted flow the rest of the time. Too much clotting leads to blockages like stroke or heart attack. Too little leads to dangerous bleeding. As our instrument ages, maintaining this perfect rhythm becomes more challenging. Underlying conditions or necessary medications often require interventions to deliberately slow down the clotting process using dampeners on the rhythm section. This requires even greater care in ensuring that other factors like diet don't inadvertently strike a note that disrupts this carefully tuned balance.
Precisely. Many seniors are prescribed medications specifically to modulate this rhythm section. Warfarin Coumadin is a classic anticoagulant that works by interfering with vitamin K, a key nutrient needed for synthesizing clotting factors. Newer antiplatelet drugs like clopidogrel Plavix or even daily aspirin work differently, making platelets less sticky. The goal is to prevent unwanted clots. However, certain vegetables contain natural compounds that also influence this delicate cascade, requiring careful tuning, especially when medications are involved. The most well-known interaction involves vitamin K itself. Vegetables like broccoli, kale, spinach again, and Brussels sprouts are rich in vitamin K1. Now, for someone not on warfarin, this is generally beneficial. But for someone on warfarin, the medication's dose is carefully calibrated based on their usual vitamin K intake. The danger arises not from eating these vegetables, but from inconsistency. Imagine the vitamin K is like the sustain pedal on a piano, and warfarin is the musician's foot carefully controlling it. If you suddenly press the pedal down hard, eat a huge amount of broccoli 1 week after weeks of barely touching it, or vice versa, the carefully controlled sound, your clotting time, or INR, goes completely out of balance. Too much K can override the warfarin, making the blood clot too easily, risking stroke. Too little K relative to the warfarin dose can make the blood too thin, risking bleeding. It's about maintaining a consistent tempo, not sudden changes in volume. Our second vegetable interacting with this system is garlic. Garlic contains potent sulfur compounds like allicin, which have natural antiplatelet blood-thinning effects. This is generally heart-healthy. However, if consumed in large amounts, especially raw, or as concentrated supplements by someone already taking prescription blood thinners, warfarin, Plavix, aspirin, or newer anticoagulants, DOACs, the effects can become additive. It's like having two musicians both playing a thinning note simultaneously. The combined effect might make the blood too thin, increasing the risk of bruising nosebleeds, or in severe cases, dangerous internal or cerebral bleeding hemorrhagic stroke.
Again, the instrument is sensitive. We are not saying these notes, vitamin K or garlic's compounds, are inherently bad. They are natural parts of the music. But when external dampeners, medications are already being applied, we must play these natural notes with greater skill and awareness to avoid dangerous dissonance.
The tuning strategy for the clotting cascade focuses on consistency and communication. Vitamin K, broccoli, leafy greens, warfarin. The absolute key is consistency. Maintain a stable, moderate intake of high vitamin K vegetables week to week. Do not suddenly eliminate them or binge on them. Inform your doctor about your typical intake so your warfarin dose can be appropriately calibrated. Regular INR monitoring is essential. Garlic blood thinners, all types. Moderation is crucial. Enjoy garlic cooked in meals. Cooking somewhat reduces its potent antiplatelet effects. Avoid high-dose garlic supplements or consuming large amounts of raw garlic unless specifically approved by your doctor, who is aware of all your medications. Watch for signs of excessive thinning, easy bruising, prolonged bleeding. This is non-negotiable. Always inform your doctor and pharmacist about all supplements and your regular dietary habits, especially regarding high Vit K greens or significant garlic intake, if you are taking any medication that affects blood clotting.
I recall a gentleman, Charles, who was stable on warfarin for years. He decided to embrace a super healthy diet and started consuming very large kale and broccoli smoothies several times a week, a dramatic change from his previous habits. His next INR test showed his blood was suddenly clotting much too easily, putting him at significant stroke risk. He thought he was doing something healthy, but the inconsistency threw his carefully tuned system out of balance. Conversely, I had a patient, Maria, on daily aspirin who started taking high-potency garlic capsules she bought online. She came in covered in bruises she couldn't explain. The combined blood-thinning effect was too strong for her system. We stopped the capsules, advised moderate cooked garlic only, and the bruising resolved. Tuning this rhythm section requires respecting both the instrument's sensitivity and the effects of any ongoing treatment. We have addressed the instrument's hydraulics, fluid balance, and its rhythm section clotting. Now we must tune the system that provides its very energy, blood sugar, and energy metabolism. Think of this as the instrument's sophisticated fuel injector system. It's designed to deliver a precise, steady stream of energy glucose to keep all parts functioning smoothly. A younger instrument might handle bursts of fuel robustly, but our finely tuned aged instrument requires a much more stable, carefully managed fuel delivery. Sudden surges or drops can cause the entire system to sputter or stall.
That's a perfect analogy. As we age, insulin sensitivity often decreases. This means the key insulin doesn't unlock the doors to our cells, as efficiently making it harder for glucose to get out of the bloodstream and into the cells where it's needed for energy. The pancreas might still produce insulin, but the locks are stickier. This leads to higher and more prolonged blood sugar spikes after meals. Furthermore, overall metabolism tends to slow down. Why does this matter for stroke risk, especially overnight? When you consume foods that cause a rapid blood sugar spike, particularly later in the day, two things happen in an older, less sensitive system. First, the spike itself can contribute to inflammation and glycation, damaging the pipeline lining, as we discussed in Part 2. Second, the body often overreacts with insulin, leading to a subsequent blood sugar crash, hypoglycemia a few hours later, often during sleep. This crash is perceived by your body as an emergency. It triggers the release of stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones tell your blood vessels to constrict and your heart rate to increase, the exact opposite of the calm, relaxed state needed for restorative sleep and healthy circulation. This overnight stress hormone surge, combined with potential dehydration and already less flexible blood vessels, can significantly increase blood pressure, thicken the blood, and create conditions favorable for clot formation or vascular events while you sleep.
So the fuel injector system becomes more sensitive, giving it sudden, large bursts of high-octane fuel, especially when the engine is preparing to rest, can cause backfires and strain. We must learn to provide fuel in a way that creates a smooth, steady burn.
This brings us to vegetables that, while nutritious, can impact the sensitive system if not consumed mindfully. Raw carrots are wonderful, but eaten raw and alone, their natural sugars are absorbed quite rapidly. For a senior with reduced insulin sensitivity, a large serving, especially late at night, can act like that quick burst of high-octane fuel, potentially leading to that spike crash stress hormone cycle overnight. Corn, nutritionally corn, behaves much more like a starchy grain than a leafy green. It has a relatively high glycemic load, meaning it delivers a significant amount of glucose into the bloodstream quickly. Again, consumed in large quantities, especially processed forms, like cornflakes, cornmeal grits, or late in the evening, it provides a large dose of standard fuel that can overwhelm the aging fuel injection system. The tuning strategy for the fuel injector system involves timing, pairing, and moderation. Timing consumes starchier or naturally sweeter vegetables like carrots, especially raw and corn earlier in the day, breakfast, lunch, or early dinner, when your body is more active and insulin sensitivity is generally higher. Avoid large amounts late at night. Pairing crucial. Never eat these vegetables alone, especially if raw. Always pair them with sources of protein, healthy fat, or fiber. For carrots, think hummus, a handful of nuts, or sliced with avocado. For corn, have it as a small part of a balanced meal containing chicken, fish, beans, or other vegetables. The protein, fat, and fiber act like fuel stabilizers, slowing down glucose absorption and preventing dramatic spikes and crashes. Moderation in form. Treat corn more like a grain like rice or potato in terms of portion size. Choose whole kernel corn, fresh or frozen, over highly processed forms like corn syrup, corn flakes, or finely ground cornmeal grits, which have a much faster impact on blood sugar. Cooking carrots makes their sugars slightly more available, but also breaks down fiber, so pairing remains important.
This is not about demonizing these nutritious foods. It is about understanding how to play their specific note in harmony with your instrument's current capabilities. A quick burst of fuel is fine when the engine is running hard, but not when it's trying to idle smoothly through the night. By adjusting the timing and pairing these foods thoughtfully, you provide steady energy without causing disruptive backfires in your metabolic system.
It's wonderful seeing our community engage globally. Taking control of our health is a universal goal. Please take a moment to share which state or country you are watching from in the comments below. We love seeing where our Healthier Daily family members are tuning in from.
We have tuned the instrument's hydraulics, its rhythm section, and its fuel injector. Our final area of focus is the very structure that carries the music, the resonance chamber. This represents the tone and reactivity of your blood vessels themselves. In a young instrument, the wood is supple, resonant, and responds predictably to vibrations. But as the instrument ages, the wood can become thinner, perhaps slightly warped, or develop unique sensitivities. It might start to buzz or react unexpectedly to certain frequencies or pressures.
That's a perfect description of what happens to our blood vessels after 60. Vascular elasticity naturally decreases, the wood becomes less supple. The endothelial lining, which actively controls widening vasodilation and narrowing vasoconstriction, can become less responsive or even dysfunctional. This means the blood vessels don't adapt as smoothly to changes in demand or pressure. Furthermore, the system can become more reactive or sensitive to certain chemical signals, potentially leading to unpredictable drops or spikes in blood pressure, or even localized vascular irritation. This increased sensitivity requires careful tuning when consuming vegetables containing potent vasoactive compounds, natural chemicals that directly influence blood vessel tone. Two common examples fall into this category. First, onions. Onions are incredibly healthy, packed with antioxidants, especially quercetin. Quercetin is known for its ability to relax blood vessels and lower blood pressure, a beneficial effect in moderation. However, for a senior already taking blood pressure medications like ACE inhibitors, beta blockers, calcium channel blockers, consuming very large amounts of onions, especially raw, where quercetin is most potent, could potentially have an additive effect. It's like playing a powerful vasodilating note on top of medication already doing the same thing. This could potentially lead to blood pressure dipping too low, hypotension, causing dizziness, lightheadedness, fatigue, or confusion symptoms that mimic circulatory problems, or even stroke precursors. Second, tomatoes and other nightshades like peppers, eggplants. Tomatoes are rich in lycopene and other beneficial nutrients. However, they belong to the nightshade family. Some individuals, particularly as they age, or if they have underlying inflammatory conditions, may develop sensitivities to certain compounds found in nightshades, such as histamines, tyramines, or alkaloids like solanine. In sensitive people, these compounds might trigger inflammatory responses, affect nerve signaling, or cause unpredictable vascular reactions, constriction, or dilation. While not common, these reactions can sometimes manifest as headaches, flushing, dizziness, or numbness, which, as the original script noted, could potentially be confused with early stroke symptoms in an anxious individual. The acidity can also impact electrolyte balance in high amounts.
Here, the instrument is telling us it has developed specific sensitivities. Certain notes or harmonics, while perhaps fine for others, cause a dissonant buzz in this particular finely tuned system. The goal is not to eliminate these notes entirely, but to learn how to play them gently and observe the instrument's unique response.
The tuning strategy for vascular tone and reactivity involves moderation, preparation timing, and awareness. Onions BP meds moderation is key. Enjoy onions cooked in meals where heat slightly reduces quercetin potency. Avoid consuming very large quantities of raw onion regularly. Crucially, communicate with your doctor about your diet if you are on blood pressure medication, especially if experiencing dizziness. Tomatoes, just nightshades. If you suspect sensitivity, try cooking tomatoes reduces solanine, increases lycopene. Avoid large amounts, especially late at night. Pay attention to your body if you consistently experience odd symptoms, headaches, flushing, joint pain, flare-ups after eating nightshades. Discuss a potential elimination trial with your doctor or nutritionist. Pair with magnesium-rich foods like leafy greens, nuts, and seeds to help balance electrolytes. Timing: as with other potentially disruptive foods, consuming large amounts of onions or tomatoes late in the evening, when circulation naturally slows and the body is less equipped to manage strong vascular signals, is less ideal than consuming them earlier.
I recall a patient, George, who was well managed on blood pressure medication, but started experiencing bouts of lightheadedness, especially in the evenings. After reviewing his diet, we realized he had recently started making large batches of raw onion salsa, which he ate generously with his dinner nearly every night. The combination of his medication and the high dose of raw quercetin was likely causing his pressure to dip too low in the evenings. We didn't tell him to stop eating onions. We simply advised him to cook them, reduce the quantity, and perhaps enjoy the salsa earlier in the day. His evening lightheadedness resolved completely. It wasn't the onion itself that was harmful. It was the dose and timing in the context of his medication. It required careful tuning. Similarly, identifying a nightshade sensitivity can sometimes be the missing piece for resolving unexplained inflammatory symptoms or vascular reactivity in certain individuals, though this requires careful observation. We have now completed our tuning session. We have explored the 4 key systems within your finely tuned instrument that require special attention after 60, the delicate hydraulics of fluid balance, the precise rhythm section of blood, clotting, the sensitive fuel injector of metabolism, and the unique resonance chamber of vascular tone. We have seen how certain notes played by common vegetables can create dissonance if we are not mindful of the instrument's changing needs. The most important lesson is not one of fear or restriction. It is one of skill, awareness, and respect. Your body is not betraying you. It is communicating its sensitivities. By learning to listen, to understand the nuances, you transform from a passive recipient of health advice into the master tuner of your own unique instrument. You learn to play the notes harmoniously, creating beautiful music of health and vitality, rather than jarring dissonance.
That role of master tuner is empowered by a clear, practical protocol. Let's consolidate our tuning strategies into the tuner's protocol. Your guide to navigating vegetable consumption safely and effectively after 60. Universal tuning principles. Prioritize whole and gently cooked. Choose fresh or frozen vegetables over canned due to sodium. Gentle cooking, steaming, light sautéing often makes compounds easier to handle than large raw quantities. Hydrate wisely, maintain consistent hydration throughout the day, especially if consuming diuretic vegetables. Mind the timing shift, potentially problematic vegetables, diuretics, high sugar, starch potential, vascular triggers to earlier in the day, rather than consuming large amounts late at night. Practice moderation. Avoid extreme or sudden changes in your intake of any single vegetable, especially those high in vitamin K or vasoactive compounds. Variety and balance are key. System-specific tuning reminders. Hydraulics, fluid kidneys, thyme diuretics, romaine asparagus earlier. Moderate high oxalate green spinach if kidney function is a concern. Stay hydrated. Rhythm clotting, maintain consistent intake of high-vit K greens broccoli if on warfarin. Use potent raw garlic moderately if on any blood thinner. Fuel blood, sugar pear, starchy, sharp, sugary veg corn, raw carrots with protein, fat, fiber, and consume earlier in the day. Resonance, vascular tone. Cook onions if on BP meds to reduce quercetin potency. Be mindful of personal sensitivity to nightshades tomatoes and cook them. The most crucial step, harmonizing with medicine. Communicate with your doctor. This is non-negotiable. If you are taking warfarin, any blood, thinner blood pressure medication, diuretics, or managing kidney disease or diabetes, always discuss your regular dietary habits, including vegetable intake, with your physician. They need this information to safely manage your treatment. Never adjust medications based on dietary changes alone. Following this protocol addresses key factors like potential vegetable medication interactions seniors face. It promotes awareness of issues like oxalates, kidney health, elderly concerns, and the importance of vitamin K warfarin consistency. Understanding diuretic vegetables, dehydration risk, and potential nightshade sensitivity. Vascular effects empowers you to eat safely. If this masterclass on becoming a master tuner for your body has provided you with valuable, nuanced information and a greater sense of confidence in navigating healthy eating. After 60, please show your support by giving this video a like. And please share it. This balanced perspective is desperately needed to counter simplistic or fear-based health messages. And if you haven't yet, we warmly invite you to subscribe to Healthier Daily and ring that notification bell. We are committed to bringing you in-depth, trustworthy, and empowering health knowledge. Finally, our most important question for you today, as the master tuner of your own instrument, reflecting on the 4 sensitive systems we discussed, which of the 4 tuning systems, fluid balance, kidneys, hydraulics, blood clotting rhythm, blood sugar, the metabolism, fuel, or vascular tone, reactivity, resonance, do you feel requires the most careful tuning in your own body right now? Please share your thoughtful response in the comments below. Recognizing your instrument's unique sensitivities is the first step to playing it beautifully, and your experience can guide others in our community. From all of us at Healthier Daily, thank you for tuning in with us.
Be a skillful and attentive master tuner. May your instrument play the vibrant music of health for many harmonious years to come.